Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's the Dead Noob, and I am back again. Look at me. All right. Are we delusional? And I'm talking about us as gamers, even developers at this point. I don't write code, so I can't really speak for them. So let's get into it. First things first, high expectations. Studios and development teams advertise their game at its most beautiful and intriguing point. Any advertiser will tell you that this is how you gain support and muster interest in a game. The best at doing this, in my opinion, are the free-to-play games like Raid Shadow Legends, World of Tanks, EVE Online, Star Trek Fleet Command, just to name a few. Gamers expect the best graphics, storyline, plot, character development, and these are just generalizations. If the gamer fits into different categories, then the expectations change other than just graphics. And that's pretty much a standard across the board, right? We all expect high, intense graphics, especially on a low-end card. A really hard ask is for gamers to say that we want 5090 quality out of a 3050 card that we currently own. So you need to make it work with my technology. Or asking for 4K out of anything that doesn't support 4K. And as my mother used to tell me, shit in one hand and wish in the other and see which one gets fuller faster. Or, boy, you have champagne dreams on beer money. So if you have those type of expectations, you better start covering your end first. Second thing, gamers aren't one size fits all. Some studios bank on this one size fits all motif. And the usual suspects in this analogy are typically the AAA studios. They seem to be the most ignorant of the player base. Now, I've said time and time again, and I will continue to do so until it sticks. Why? Because it's fucking true. Suits do not belong in gaming. Your bottom line can't be established the same way as other companies or systems. Gamers are frugal, and they have extreme nerd tendencies. They hyperfixate or overanalyze and deep dive, and they go where you didn't anticipate them to go and will intentionally break a game mechanic just to see where the boundary is and how far past it they can go before you either stop them or change the game to alter their behavior. So if you make a sandbox game like Tarkov, for instance, and it's an open sandbox enough, I guess, players have found ways to climb into the ceiling on Ground Zero in the Terra Group building. So BSG team put a claymore up there, a simple yet effective deterrent. It wasn't intended for people to camp up there in that spot. So the devs corrected player attitude and action by putting a device up there that stops them from doing so. And this next point is a lot to digest. So before I proceed, like, share, and leave a comment. And sub if you'd like to hear more from, me. Understanding the business. I don't have a degree in business, but I have been in this world enough time to understand it. Specifically when it comes to gaming. I started gaming when there was an Atari. So kind of been around it for a while, and I've had every platform since at one point or another. So one of the biggest disconnects for some gamers is the ignorance of how businesses are actually formed and maintained. My favorite punching bag here, Blame Truth, is one such person. He openly hates on Activision, Infinity Ward, Ravensoft, hell, any team that works on Call of Duty, and I can agree with a few of his points, and I do mean very few. But tell me, dude, when was the last time you actually spent a few hours playing Call of Duty? If you hate the studios that work on the game so much, then stop making content about it. Save your sanity and your stress level. At least make fun content about a game or games you actually enjoy. But that would break him. I think that Blame Truth without rage bait is like the Pope without being Catholic. It just isn't a thing. Honestly, I don't even really know what the hell he's up to nowadays. I stopped watching his content months ago. But let's get back on top here. If you begin to understand the main goal of a business, which is to provide the best possible service at a reasonable and fair price to the consumer. Now, I'm not giving a class on economics here or bringing up supply and demand, payroll, overhead, blah, 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 bottom line this, blah, blah, blah. But that also includes game studios. They have an obligation to the following, and in my opinion, direct order. Investors, board members, if they have them, customers, employees, and then themselves. Investors are where the money comes from. Well, if you're going to work on any project, that is. Take it into consideration that if a game costs $400 to $500 million to make, Most companies just don't have that kind of capital laying around. So they need investment. That's what comes in. Investors, they want their money back with interest. So studios are on the hook from day one. If they don't put out a product in enough time, the bills start piling up really quick and the investors start backing out really fast. And they're going to want to take their money with them. So there, it is what it is. But if the company is self-sufficient, well, we wouldn't be talking about this, right? So game studios rarely make enough to produce the next or even the first title to begin with. Even independent companies require an influx of cash to make a game. And I'm not talking about Flappy Birds, and if you remember that game, bringing up a random one-hit wonder isn't going to fit the narrative here. Look at it like this. The top 5 highest grossing games are all free-to-play or pay-to-win, in my opinion. I really don't like free-to-play games for a specific reason. So number 1, sitting at the top, is Dungeon Fighter Online, with an extreme pay-to-win mechanic, using all the tricks that casinos use on its player base, grossing $22 billion over its lifespan. The company, Neopol, is out of South Korea, and they make this game, and it's been running ever since. It has a very, very high draw to an Asian market. I haven't seen too many people in the States playing it, but it's not my kind of game, so there's that. The second one on the list is Fortnite. I don't think this one needs an introduction. I think everybody in the world knows what this game is. And it's grossed up to $20 billion, and yet Epic Games is cash poor. Someone needs to look into their books because I don't know why they lost so much money. However, they do cite expenses in creation, development that just didn't pan out over the last 2 years, and the loss of a player base. This is Epic Games' flagship game for now. We'll see what changes in the future. Number 3, Honor of Kings, a MOBA or multi-online battle arena game that is a massively popular game in Asia, with China being its main area of focus. It boasts that only pay-for cosmetics are in the game. Characters and upgrades are earned through regular gameplay. Allegedly. Never played it, not going to find out myself. And the player base is extremely unhappy with the RNG drop rate right now. They have grossed about $18.6 billion, and they're made by no other than the pay-to-win company, Tencent. They are the pay-to-win masters of the universe, if you really want to look at it that way. Now, pray for Ubisoft if you want to see the Division 3 or the next Ghost Recon come out, because Tencent is champing at the bit trying to get them under their wing. They've already got part of the Division 2. If you've ever seen the Chinese version, you'll know what I'm saying. Number 4, PUBG. It started out as an indie game and quickly devolved into a pay-to-win game where Krafton and, yeah, you guessed it, Tencent took the wheels and drove the beloved game into the ground. It's grossed about $17.8 billion currently. And number 5 is League of Legends, another MOBA game. That caught on over a decade ago, made by Riot Games. The game has grossed just over $15 billion, and now this is the esports mecca game. It has been in the front of the esports for almost as long as it's been out. And that's about a decade. Now that I've done that, I'll go ahead and list the top 5 grossing games that are pay to play. Number 1, The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt. Now, I'm not going to get into the monetary breakdown here. I'm just going to go ahead and spill the beans. Number 2 would be Elder Scrolls, Skyrim. Number 3, and I'm rather surprised by this one too, was Wii Sports. At number 4, I couldn't believe I actually saw this. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. I was rather surprised. I thought Battlefield 6 would be on here, but I'll get to that in just a minute. And then number 5 would be Pokemon Go. Now, I know someone is going to sit there and pull that "Where's Battlefield 6" card. I mentioned it earlier. It hasn't surpassed these games as of yet. And with online hate spilling over, and may not ever pass them. The messed up part is the game is really good, but different people want different things, and they are very vocal about it. Aren't they, Enders? You know, like they say, the empty can rattles the most. Number 4, the soft bigotry of low expectations. This is where I believe that some studios go when things aren't working out or they're going in the wrong direction. Look at X-Defiant, Marathon, and Arc Raiders, and some other titles that started out strong and then just kind of fizzled out, almost as fast as they sparked. In some cases, the dev just vacated the game altogether or can't walk back the code enough to produce what the player base wanted. In the case of Ubisoft's XDefiant, the game never got any advertisement or marketing that a AAA studio typically warrants for new games. The problem is that XDefiant was a really good first-person arcade shooter, and when Call of Duty was alienating their player base and Ricochet really wasn't catching blatant cheating, and according to some, still isn't catching them, and that doesn't sound good for Modern Warfare 4, does it? But XDefiant was poised to kind of take over that mantle. If they would have just spent a few bucks marketing it, it would have really dominated the game, at least in my opinion. And I'm not really big into arcade shooters, and I loved playing it. Studios will lower their standards to dirt level and then blame players for the disgust, angst, or flat-out vacating of a game. It's more nuanced than either side will admit, though. Gamers want X, Y, and Z, where devs might be able to give you a little bit from each, nothing at all, or maybe a little bit from one or the other. And they can't do all or nothing. All those changes mean rewriting the code all the way from the beginning. And some players just hate from day one. And the game never really gets any good traction, does it? Especially when it really has legs, and it just won't have enough to see daylight now because everybody's just flat out hating it. Some people just ignore some games altogether because of the engine they use to build the game. Seeing a lot of hate for Unreal 5 right now, and I just don't know why. Where there are games that use UE5 in the best of its capacity, and other studios barely make the thing functional. But to blame the engine for lack of code, it's not the same thing. It's like blaming the man in the mirror. You're really just kind of mad at yourself. But okay. I think I'm enough with this discussion, right? Now let's get into some reasonable actions that we can take. It's fair to say that your expectations should not be the rubric for which the studio gets judged upon. That's not fair. If they misrepresent themselves, however, then just walk away. Let your time and money be the voice heard the loudest in the room. You don't need a blowhard YouTuber or an egotistical streamer to say anything for you. Don't give them your power. Speak for yourself. And use your own statements and actions, not the hyperbole of a hate-filled, rage-baiting, egocentric personality that wants your attention and to feed their ego. I will say this as an example of where I place my time and money. And first of all, I don't trust any YouTuber, other than the honest opinion from those that just want to play games and have fun. Being overt or overly sympathetic or even hypercritical, and I bail out just as fast as I saw it. But just give me the facts and interesting points that you find about a game, and I'll probably end up watching your content and leaving comments, liking, or even sharing it to the Discord groups that I'm in. Now, I'm not telling anyone here to follow my example. That's just not what I'm trying to do here. But you need to have your own set of parameters that works for you. And although watching rage bait content can be entertaining from time to time, a relentless consumption, and you'll eventually find yourself looking at the world through those rage bait glasses. As for gamers, I tend to look for games that fit into my categories. Milsims, realism, first-person shooters, or over-the-shoulders don't really matter. Extraction, looter, or even open-world tactical. So it's not far to assume that I play Tarkov, Incursion Red River, Squad, Ready or Not, and Operator. And of course, Gray Zone. Love that game. With that being said, I'm also looking into 3 other games that to add to my library, like Road to Vostok, 6 Days in Fallujah, and Ground Branch, as potential for my library. Mind you, I'm going to do a little bit more research and stuff like that before I decide if I'm going to spend money on these games. All right, it's time for me to stop ranting and let you guys go ahead and leave a like and share this. And hey, leave a comment down below. And if you want to hear more, sub. Yeah, that's it for me. You know the drill. Be good or be good at it. I'm done.